Hello, Year 12. Welcome to your first podcast for your HSC year. What we're going to look at in this podcast is what is discovery, the area of study discovery. So, this is not going to be looking at text, but looking at the rubric itself. So, firstly, what we need to do is actually break down the rubric and have a look at what it is that NESA is asking of you to do in paper 1 of the HSC. So you've now all been provided with a copy of the rubric in class. You should have it glued into your books or laminated and stuck to your wall at home. You need to bring it to class for every lesson we do this term because we're going to be looking at discovery all term. And you need to know it off by heart. But what it's asking you to do is, firstly, as students, you are required to consider both discovery and rediscovery. You need to consider both. Not every text that you engage with is going to be just about discovery or just about rediscovery. They may be about both. You need to consider that discoveries may be planned or they may be unplanned. So they may have a process to them and they may be deliberate, born from curiosity, from need, or from wonder. Or they may be unplanned, so they're sudden and unexpected. You need to consider that discoveries may lead to new worlds and values. So there might be an idea of seeing the world itself from a different perspective or valuing things in a different way, or it could just purely be a discovery of a new place. You also need to consider that discoveries can question and challenge and lead to different conclusions. So it's about the idea that our assumptions can be challenged, that our understanding of the world around us can be challenged, and our understandings of self can be challenged. So we said before that discoveries can be planned or unplanned or sudden and unexpected, or process born from deliberate planning of curiosity, necessity, or wonder. And there's more things that you need to consider. So when you are looking at discoveries that are planned and even discoveries that are sudden and unexpected, you have to look at what is the process that has come about. So for students in advanced who are studying the Tempest, Miranda's very name means wonder. So we have, even though her discoveries are sudden, there is this idea that from the moment she was born and named that this process was going to be undertaken. You also have the idea that the process can vary according to the personal, cultural, historical, and social context and values. Now, what this means is that for both your prescribed text and your related texts, you need to know the context of your composers. You need to be looking not just at what is happening for the context of your characters and what's happening inside the text, but what has been happening in the macro world of the text as well. We also have the idea that discoveries can come from and also lead to both reflection and speculation. The rubric requires you to reflect on your understandings and to speculate about discovery and even to question both discovery and assumptions and values. So you are required under this part of the syllabus to look at your own experience of discovery, your personal experiences, and also your experiences through texts that you engage with. Now, for my class, we have looked at a process of rediscovering something from our childhood and what memories it evokes and what feelings it evokes. We've also looked at different texts that challenge our ideas of discovery and show different understandings of discoveries. But you're also required in your reflection to look at the assumptions that underlie the representations of discovery. Assumptions that are made about context, assumptions that are made about your knowledge entering into the situation or entering into the text. Some texts assume that the reader has a certain amount of knowledge before engaging with the text. Some assume that the person that is experiencing the discovery has a certain amount of knowledge or experience. There's assumptions that relate to values, to faith, to religion, to spirituality, to privilege, to social class, and to the human experience altogether. So yeah, there's lots of different ways you can look at that one and speculate upon that one. The other big thing that you have to consider is the effect of the composer's choice of language modes, forms, features, and structures. Now you'll note here I have not used the word technique. I know the word technique is something that we use in English all the time, but it's not enough. You need to go further than that. The rubric requires you to look at language modes, forms, features, and structures. Yes, techniques are part of that, are part of the features, the metaphors, the similes, the personification, alliteration, tricolon, accumulation, anadiplosis, all of those things. But you need to look at more than that. You need to look at the structure of the text. Why is it structured in the way it is? Is it chronological? Is it linear, non-linear? Does it have foreshadowing? Is it bookended? For those of you doing Shakespeare, you need to look at the shifts from blank verse and free verse to iambic pentameter, the changes in language. Caliban has some wonderful lines that contrast against the words that he uses. And to go back to where you came from, we have a look at what the camera is doing, how we are being positioned as the audience. All of those things we need to be looking at. We need to look at the word choices, the sound of vowels, the spit-in effect of repetitive P's, all different things that you need to be looking at. So don't limit yourself to just techniques. You also need to look at the ways in which your own studies of discovery have helped you to understand the world you live in and yourself. So what is the text teaching you about discovery? What are you being asked to reflect on and think about? What are you learning about humanity? What are you learning about the world in which you live? And what are you learning about yourself and how you engage with the world in which you live? How you shape meaning. So the rubric is actually asking you to do quite a lot of things here. Now, there are different types of discoveries. The rubric tells us that discoveries can be emotional, physical, creative, intellectual, and spiritual. The question is, what does that mean? There's all different types of discoveries that can come out of that. There can be scientific discoveries, which is an intellectual discovery. So discoveries of knowledge. There can be literary discoveries, again, another form of intellectual discovery or even a creative discovery. There can be philosophical discoveries, self-discovery, innovative discoveries, creative discoveries, physical discoveries, discovery of place, discovery of object. There can be discoveries that come through relationships, which, we have the discovery of love, discovery of loss, grief, forgiveness. The discovery of religion, spirituality, faith, or perhaps the loss of those things can also be a discovery, like an antithesis to discovery. Travel, we can make discoveries through travel to new places, to new worlds. We learn about new societies that way and different cultures and challenge our assumptions. We can make discoveries through learning. We can make the inner discoveries of ourselves, who we are. One of my students mentioned how the discovery of determination to succeed. Another one mentioned the discovery of power of the self, our ability to triumph, to overcome adversity. There can be personal discoveries. We can have recycled discoveries where we take something that's old and turn it into something new. We can have psychological discoveries. As I said earlier, discoveries of society, different societies, discovery of places, and even discovery of events and what they mean to us. And all of these discoveries can generate new ideas, and they can lead to even further discoveries. The rubric also tells us that discoveries are confronting or can be confronting. They can be provocative. They enable speculation. They can challenge us and change our perceptions of individuals and of groups, and they can create new values. So what you need to be looking at is the impact of the discovery, the transformation of either the individual or the society or both. So what is the discovery doing? Now, not all individuals are going to respond positively to discoveries. Some will respond negatively, and you need to consider that in your text. In my class, we've talked about a couple of words. We talked about serendipitous discoveries, so a sudden but happy discovery, and also serendipitous discoveries, the discovery of something that we then choose to remain hidden, that we don't allow people to know about. The other thing is that discoveries can challenge our assumptions. They can be far-reaching and transformative. They can challenge and change perceptions of individuals and groups. We've actually already said this one, and they can create new values. My apologies, I've got a couple of things there that I hadn't removed. The big one here, though, is that they can be far-reaching and that they are transformative. So one discovery can lead to another discovery, and they can have an impact on the individual and how that individual reacts to the discovery. Okay, so where to from here? What I suggest you do is look up a definition of discovery and all the different definitions of discovery. As you know, I come from a legal background, and for me, the word discovery is actually a legal term that is the compulsory disclosure of evidence, where one party has a discovery of the evidence of the other party. You also have the idea that discovery can be just the act or instance of discovering. And I've got a picture of a shuttle there because there was a space shuttle called Discovery. I challenge you to go find out, why did they choose to call it Discovery? What did it mean? So I want you to find synonyms for discovery, and I also want you to find antonyms. For every positive discovery that you find, I want you to see if you can find a negative discovery as well. In my class, we talked about some of the discoveries of Einstein and his theories, and then also the impact that they've had in a negative way, such as the nuclear bomb. So look at both sides and look at the far-reaching consequences of the discovery, the transformation of the discovery, what it means for the individual. Don't limit yourself to just having a discovery, but look at that impact as well. What is the impact on society? What is the impact on the individual? From here, we will start to look at your prescribed texts and how discovery is presented through those. But you need to learn that rubric off by heart. Good luck, Year 12, with your HSC.